Hello, good evening, my dears. Welcome back to our English class. How are you, my dears? Hope all of you are doing well. Okay, let's start today's class. Are you ready? Okay, before going to the next part of the story, let's recollect the previous class. The news about Raja's missing spread everywhere in the village. Grandmother blamed grandfather that he was the only one for his missing. At that time, the search parties returned to say that they couldn't find Raja. By hearing this, grandmother started weeping. The news about Raja's missing spread everywhere in the village. Then the relatives, neighbors, and other people who had heard the bad news came their home. Children, what was the bad news? Yes, the bad news was about the missing of Raja. The people who gathered there offered their sympathies to grandmother. But grandfather did not like this. He shouted at them. These are the important events in the last class. Okay, my dears, shall we move on to the next part of the story? Okay, I'll read it. You listen carefully. Now you turn your text page number 16. More and more people came and soon there was a big crowd. By now, grandmother had lost all hope of seeing me again. She started telling the people what a good boy I was. The search parties returned without finding me. Grandmother started weeping loudly. The women in the crowd also wept. The servants of the house joined in the wailing. They all acted as if I were dead. Okay, my dears, did you get the idea of this passage? Oh, it's okay. I'll give the detailed explanation. You listen carefully. Students, what was the shocking news here? Yes, very good. The news about Raja's missing was the shocking news here. By hearing this news, so many people crowded there. Children, what do you mean by crowd? Crowd is a large number of people gathered together in a disorganized way. Okay? Here, by hearing the news, people crowded there. Then what about grandmother? Yes, very good. She was so tense that she thought that she can't see Raja again. Then she told the people about Raja's qualities. We know in the previous class, grandfather shouted at some of the people gathered there to go and search for Raja. Children, do you remember? Yes, very good. Did they find him? No, they couldn't find him. Why they couldn't find him? Because he was hiding in the loft of the cowshed. By hearing this news, grandmother started weeping loudly. Then the women in the crowd also wept. Here, wept is the past tense of weep. Weep means shed tears. At that time, servants of the house also joined in the wailing. What do you mean by wail? Wail means to make a long, loud cry because of feeling sad or pain. Okay? Here, the servants of the house and the women in the crowd also joined in crying with grandmother. All of them thought that Raja was dead. Okay, my dears? Hope you understood the paragraph very well. Let's move on to the next paragraph. Listen to me, I will read it. I felt very sorry for grandmother. I wanted to come out. grandfather was a man of strong will, but I knew that he too felt very sad. He did not, however, lose hope. He stood up, turned in the direction of our family temple, and prayed. Help me, God, he said. Give me my child. I want him now. I cannot wait any longer. He then stood silent in prayer. Okay, my dears, what did you understand from this paragraph? Yes, very good. Raja felt very sad when he thought about his grandmother. So Raja wanted to come out of the loft, but he didn't come. What prevented Raja from coming out? Yes, the fear of being beaten by grandfather prevented Raja from coming out. As he thought that about his grandfather, he knew that even if the grandfather was a man of strong will, he felt very sad because of Raja. But he had a hope that he can see Raja. With that hope, he started praying. Okay, my dears, what was his prayer for Raja? Yes, oh my God, help me. Give me my child and want him now. I cannot wait any longer. Then he stood silently and prayed for Raja. Okay, dear students, hope you understood this passage very well. Now, let's move on to text activity. Take your page number 22. Activity 3. Look at the illustrations from this story. What are the characters doing here? Children, look at the first picture. Here the first one is given for you. What is the grandfather doing here? Yes, very good. Grandfather is picking flowers. So students, by looking at the picture and the hints given in the brackets, you can easily identify what the characters are doing well. Children, all of you should try to do this activity. Let's discuss it in the next class. Okay? Now is the time to wind up today's class. We will meet in the next class with the last part of this story. Thank you.